Good evening, folks. Welcome to Reaching Out with Eddie. I know I say I was supposed to come on at 7, but I decided to come on at 6 today. And the reason why I want to come on at 6 because 7 is kind of late since they have this daylight saving time. Things fall back in the fall, so it's darker. But anyway, I just wanted to go ahead on and get it out of the way and kind of like give you guys an update and just talk to you for a moment. Um, Let me see. I didn't put a title for this show, but the title for this show is it worth going to jail for? And this is what I want to say to you all out there. You notice I've been talking about Percy Bland, how he's not a resident of the city of Meridian. And folks, you know what? If this man really cared about your city, if he really cared about the city of Meridian, he would have been there all the time, never leaving it. But as soon as he lost the election, he showed you how he felt about you and how he cared about the city. I want to say this. I heard from some folks today, they were saying that Percy live in Meridian. It doesn't matter. He does not live in Meridian. And you know what? Some of you out there are saying that, you just being paid to say that, or either some kind of way Percy don't promise you. He's lied. All he does is lie. And he's lying to you now. He's not going to do any of the things that he said he's going to do. But one thing that I'm going to do, and I promise you folks, is that I make it my business to talk to people, to talk to the different agencies. And I can tell you, I have a list of the people that I have contacted. And what I didn't tell you last week is that I had filed a complaint with the Department of Revenue. What Percy has already done, he has already committed a felony when he filled out an affidavit and signed it saying that he was eligible for homestead exemption. See, he's not eligible for homestead exemption because his wife does not live there with him. Folks, do you really believe that Percy Bland would stay in Meridian, Mississippi? All of a sudden, he shows up at city council meeting. From what I understand, my sources tell me that he has been to 2 city council meetings. Okay, you have two city council meetings a month. So out of the last, say, almost 4 years, Percy Bland has only been to 2 city council meetings. That's the equivalent of 1 month. He went to one last month, and he been to one this month already. And so he's going to city council meeting. And folks, let me tell you something. Don't you let that criminal. He's a criminal. Percy, let me tell you this. I know that you're watching this. I want to say this to man, some of you out there. I just gotta say shame on you. You know what? I talked to a person, and I'm not going to call that person name. And the reason why I'm not going to call that person name is because I have a lot of respect for that person, and I value our relationship. So I'm not going to call that person's name, and I'm going to keep it neutral gender so you won't know whether I'm talking about a male or a female. Now, this person is, I say, pretty well read, like most of you out there in podcast land. In my opinion, very educated, like a lot of you out there in podcast land. And I want to say this is that we got to stop wearing our feelings on our sleeve. We had a tendency to put our emotions and our feelings, our dislike above the need of the group. In other words, in order for the group to do better, you got to be able to put the needs of the group in advance of the needs of the individual. In other words, you got to put the group above yourself. You got to take self out of it. If you don't take self out of it, you will continue to have problems. The group itself will continue to not do well. The group itself will continue to suffer. And look at us. We are among the first people on this earth. From us, everything else came. Life comes out of Africa. But look at us. We're at the very bottom of the totem pole. We're bottom feeders. And the only reason why we are bottom feeders is because it's too easy for us to sell out our own kind. And no other race of people does that but us. We are the only ones that do that. No other race of people do that but us. And at some point of time, we gonna have to stop doing that. And I was able to talk to this person to get this person to see, hey, you have too much education for you to even to think like that. How about the most qualified person for the job? How about the most qualified person for the job out of all the candidates that are running? It's Rita Jacks. I'm not being biased. I'm being rational. I'm being realistic. Someone that's from Meridian, someone who is college educated, someone that has done public service for more than 25 years. I'm not talking about off and on, I'm talking about continuously has done that. Nobody has a better record than Rita Jack. Who is Copeland? Why is it that Copeland want to be your mayor? That is the question that you need to ask him. Why is it that you want to be mayor? What is it that you can do that can make things better for Meridian? What is it that you would do different? How did you come about determining that you should be the mayor of Meridian? What are your qualifications? Why should we take and put all that responsibility in your hands when you never ran a city before? You hear Two Bell talking. Two Bell, he needs to stop that. Two Bell, so neither has Rita Jack, but Two Bell, she has been in public service. She was a lieutenant with the Meridian Police Department, so she had staff up under her. And believe it or not, when Charles Coleman became chief of police, it was Rita Jacks that had to train him. When Chris Reed became chief of police, it was Rita Jacks again that had to train him. So Rita Jacks has contributed a lot to the city of Meridian. And so Meridian has a lot of problems. So what we need is to put someone in a position that could correct those problems. We don't need Rita Jacks as chief of police. We need her as mayor of Meridian so that she can put the right chief of police there, not a chief of police that's going to create promote people based on loyalty. We need to get away from Trumpism. What Percy Bland did is that he put people there. What Jimmy Smith did is it was a type of nepotism. He put his friends there, but he didn't give the most qualified person that job. Percy Bland was an atrocious mayor. Jimmy Smith did not correct any of the errors or the mistakes that Percy Bland created. He did not settle the lawsuits with Rita Jacks nor Percy Bland, and he appointed Deborah Young. Wow, man! And then how about Van get fired on his watch? So does if I'm not mistaken, Rita Jacks, and this is bad. This is really bad. And so you have people that are in position of authority that doesn't have the education or the expertise or the knowledge to run that particular department. You have people that have the expertise that are running their department, maybe, but not as qualified as the person they took the job from, such as the person that's over public works come from Jackson, Mississippi. So here it is, the Jimmy Smith thing that the white man ice is colder than ours. He have taken most of those positions and given all of those positions, those department heads, to white folks, except for, well, not all of them. Yeah, Two Bell. My point is this, is that nobody, black peoples are not benefiting under Jimmy Smith, and they did not benefit under Percy Bland. Percy Bland talk about renewed vision. You know, nigga don't have a renewed vision. I know I'm trying. Too bad just slapped me upside the head then. So you know you're gonna stop using that word. Can't help it, bro. Anyway, Percy Bland does not have a renewed vision. He wants to keep things going like it is. The reason why he wants to keep things going like it is because he missed that money. He missed that power. Also, he danced to the tune of the Puppet Master. See, we need someone to come there to go dance to the tune of the citizens of Meridian, all both black and white. I think the Copeland is brought there to take votes from because you don't have a Republican running as mayor. And because they already got their Negro that they want to be in that position. That's Jimmy Smith and Percy Bland. Copeland's job is to take votes from Rita Jacks, and so that they can get either Percy Bland but he's running as an independent. So if he's running as an independent, then he's not even a factor. He's definitely not going to win. He's not going to win. Whoever wins the Democratic primary will be your next mayor in the city of Meridian. So if Rita Jackson wins it, next mayor of Meridian. If Percy Bland wins it, and here's what everybody would do, in my opinion, not black folks, but the Republican would jump behind Copeland then, because I don't know. I think Rita Jackson is the kind of person that would bring a lot of people to the table, both black, white, Republicans, and Democrat. And I think, and I saw her run as coroner, and I think she did a very good. She got more bipartisan votes than anyone that I've ever seen run for election in Meridian, Mississippi. But I want to get back to my topic today. And what's up, family? And I'm gonna read the comments when I finish my podcast. But that's my first cousin's son, so that's my first cousin once removing for all of my children out there. Ken Lightning is your second cousin. Anyway, thanks for joining in. And people, I want to say this is that and I did a video where I'm playing, I'm jamming, I'm really jamming. And I said tune in, and the tune in that I'm talking about is tuning in to reaching out at it, because I'm going to always enlighten you here. But I want to get on my subject and tell y'all what I did. What I did last week, prior to my last week podcast that I didn't tell you about, is that I filed a complaint with the Department of Revenue against Percy Bland for uh, falsely, fraudulently claiming homestead exemption in the state of Mississippi. It's a felony when you do that. And I did file a complaint with the Department of Revenue. I called them up first. And when I called them up, they told me where to go on the website. And of course, Q was with me. And so while I was talking to them on the phone, and I was driving at that particular time, Q went to the websites and everything. Anyway, when we got here, we filled it. Not we, I did. I filled it out. I filled out the complaint. And what I did today, I was in Meridian, Mississippi. Folks, let me tell you something what all I did. I gave a copy of the proof that Percy Bland is not a resident. And I'm going to say this to the person that's going around and telling people that Percy Bland is a resident of Mississippi State. You need to stop. And I'm not going to call your name out of respect, but you need to stop. Let me tell you why you need to stop. Because it wasn't long when you were antagonistic against Percy Bland. It was years ago when meetings were set up for you to meet with him so that you can be his supporter. Because and it's sad, and I know you know what I'm talking about, and I have a lot of respect for you, but it's sad that we have Percy Bland that does not live in Meridian, Mississippi, has not lived there. And I showed you on this podcast. You can go back and look at the videos, but I have a flyer that I'm putting out. And you can see that he does not live, that nobody would live in Meridian, Mississippi, and their children live somewhere. He and his wife, they have never separated. And you can see from the evidence that I presented to you on this podcast that he's not a resident of Mississippi. Let me tell you what I did, Percy Bland, and all of you Percy Bland folks out there that's licking his behind and running up behind him thinking he's going to be the next mayor. Now you're going to be, let me tell you what all I did. Do you realize, let me tell you this. Do you realize that when you attempt, do you understand that when you're talking about elections, you're talking about civil rights, people, let me see, it said, oh, okay, I don't know. Something just flashed up, folks. So I'm gonna ignore that. But anyway, folks, when you start talking about running for public office and you help a person to become mayor that's not a citizen of that state, that's lying, that's trying to circumvent the system so that they can get power, so that perhaps you even have an ulterior motive. Do you realize that you're accessory, that you are violating someone's civil rights? When you help a person that live in another state become a mayor of a state, or you help a person that's not a resident of a city or a county or a local, you understand all the laws that you're breaking, federal laws, state laws, and local laws. There are so many laws that Percy Bland is breaking by doing that. And when you help him, you are helping him break that same law. Do you realize that when one person go to jail, everybody go to jail? And I got to ask you this, is it worth you going to jail for? Now, you might talk all hard and all talk tough, but when somebody come at you and start talking about putting your ass in jail, then the first thing you do, you get afraid, you get scared. Then you want to call your, you want to, I want my mama. I want somebody to help me, but it ain't no help. You're being warned on this podcast that you're breaking the law. Now, a lot of you out there know that I'm good at what I do. One thing I'm good at is researching the law, and I promise you, don't you let nobody lie to you. You need to run from it. And I'm going to tell you this, Percy Bland, the best thing for your scheming, lying, cheating, self should do, and I almost said it, two best that don't do it, should do is to resign, to not run for anything, but run back to Alabama and get the hell out of Mississippi. You need to stop. You can save yourself by withdrawing your homestead. Tell them you made a mistake. It ain't gonna work because they hear me telling you what to do. The next thing you do, but I'm gonna tell you already. My son is Octavius. So Ken, like Ken, that's your second cousin. That's my son. He filed a complaint with the Democratic Party today. He's protesting. He's a citizen of Lauderdale County, Meridian, Mississippi. He's protesting, and he's already lodged a complaint with the Lauderdale County Democratic Party to have Percy Bland removed from the Democratic ticket for not being a resident of the state of Mississippi, Lauderdale County. And he got his he presented his proof to the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party will have to hold a meeting. Okay, now let me do my checks and balances. Now let me tell y'all what all I did today. I gave you a copy of the proof to the circuit clerk of Lauderdale County, to the tax assessor of Lauderdale County, to the Lauderdale County District Attorney Office, to the Lauderdale County Sheriff Department. I have also gave a copy of it to Twin State News. I gave a copy of it to the Meridian Star. I gave a copy of it to WTOK. Now, I don't know whether or not these people are going to report about it, but one thing it's going to do is going to get to all those people that's in position of power. They ain't going to want to deal with Percy Bland if Percy Bland is going to be a liability. They're not going to want to deal with Percy Bland if Percy Bland going to jail. Now, let me tell you what else I'm doing. I have already addressed a letter to the Mississippi Secretary of State Election Division, also the Attorney General for the state of Mississippi, Public Integrity, also the FBI in Jackson, Mississippi, dealing with voters' rights. So I got to say this to all of you out there that's a important person. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? For now, FBI gonna get involved because I addressed a letter to them. I addressed a letter to the Attorney General with my evidence. You understand, person, now if the FBI has investigated you before and they're gonna investigate you again, do you realize when you try to circumvent an election that you're interfering with people, voters' rights? That is a federal. Anytime when you deal with elections illegally, look at it. Go to the FBI website and you will see it, and look at public corruption and you'll find one in there dealing with elections. Or look at civil rights, you'll find one in there dealing with election. You go to the Attorney General for the state of Mississippi, you'll find in there under public integrity, cyber crimes, and also you'll find one in there to deal with public officials. And this is on you, Jimmy Smith. If you know that Percy Bland is not a resident of the city of Meridian, if you know that if you and Percy Bland have concocted some kind of way of staying in power so that the nucleus, those people, the common nucleus that control both you, Percy, and in my opinion, Copeland, that common nucleus, did you know the FBI would tie all that stuff in because they have technology that finds out everything. And so it would be a shame, Jimmy Smith, for you to go to jail trying to help Percy Bland, or you, where y'all trying to help each other stay in office. Now, that's my report for today. Now, I promise you, people, that I have my flyer. I'm going to make sure all the people's in position of power and authority gets it. Also, to let the local Democratic Party know, I also have a letter that I addressed to the state Democratic Party. I have their address, also the National Democratic Party, making them aware of what's going on in Meridian, Mississippi. So you understand how my podcast 3 weeks ago, oh, what a way when we practice to deceive. In other words, every time we try to deceive people, we weave in a web that's actually going to encapsulate ourselves. And look what you have done, Percy. You lied on me. You had your police officer to put me and both Lolo in jail. And look, you lied on me, but I'm not lying on you. I got the evidence. There is no way that you can go back and fix any of this. Percy, you're headed to jail. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you go to jail. I'm going to make sure everything I do that you don't be the next man. And guess what? All of you out there that support, there's no way. White folks, you black folks, you fall and go for anything and you won't stand up for anything. But I tell you this, one thing that you had better do, you had better you had better run from person, because person headed to jail. I want to thank y'all for listening. I want to talk about something real quick here. One thing I want to tell you is that deviate a little bit is that Kay converted to Islam, and so they call it the her job. That's the thing they wear on her head. She's already wearing that and everything. Has nothing to do with me, and I'm in support. But one thing that I found that is that we as a people are still enslaved. Do you realize, and I don't mean in a disrespect to any of you out there, is that if you look at the Christianity, if you look at religions per se, except for Islam, but if you look at Christianity, you will see that basically black people are still enslaved. They still taking their money and they giving it to their master. Now, how are they giving it to their master? Every Sunday, black and on Sunday is the most segregated time in America, where white folks go to white churches and black people go to black churches. But they both have one thing in common, is that they take all of their money on Monday morning and they put it in a white bank. A white bank that will not give you a job, a white bank that will not give you credit, will not help you buy a house, will not give you a loan, a white bank that take your money and enrich their lives. See, we are still taking care of our master. Even in 2025, we are still taking care of our master. So in a sense, and I don't mean to put anyone down, but I'm just telling you the truth. If you look at it, you go to church every Sunday and you pay money, you give it to a preacher there whom think he's God, and a lot of them, not all of them, most of them think they are God, act like God. Some of them are multi-millionaires, and you have made them rich like that. But look how we take our money and we build their community. When we build a new church, or we build a building outside, or rec center, anything, we build those buildings and we go to white banks and borrow that money, and we take that money and we build those buildings, and we use white builders to build those buildings. The only time you see black people there, they're sweeping, picking up trash, making minimum wage. We really have it twisted. As a people, we are so gullible. We do so many things that we should not do. But one thing I want to say is I want to thank you for listening in, and I'm gonna read what my cousins say here. Cuz I'm gonna put my glass on. You know, I'm like Sanford on Sanford and Son. I have men in power. They don't. Blacks need to hold black politicians accountable. Black politicians should run on agendas that benefit blacks. And I agree, but they don't do that, especially in Meridian, Mississippi. Blacks get a job and sell us down the river, and that's exactly what they do. They get those positions, and they have done that. That's what Person want to do with his line about renewed vision, and so many people are backing the wrong person. We always had a tendency to back the wrong person in this horse, in this race, the wrong horse in this race. I want to thank you for listening in, and y'all have a good evening. Cuz tell my family up there in Ohio I say hello and I love